Picture this. Myles Garrett, the most dominant force on the Cleveland Browns roster, walks into the front office and essentially says, "I'm done waiting." Not with words exactly, but with the kind of message that shakes an entire organization to its core. What happened next? Well, it led to one of the most controversial quarterback decisions Cleveland has made in years, and the fallout is going to define everything about this season. Joe Flacco, at 40 years old, is your Week 1 starter. Not because he lit up training camp. Not because he beat out the competition in some epic quarterback battle, but because circumstances, pressure, and one superstar's ultimatum aligned perfectly to put him under center against Cincinnati this Sunday. And here's what makes this story absolutely wild. Flacco is opening the season against the exact same team he faced in his very first NFL game 17 years ago. The Bengals. Full circle doesn't even begin to describe it. Back then, he was a rookie who shocked everyone with a 38-yard touchdown scramble. Now, he's a grizzled veteran being asked to salvage a franchise's championship window before it slams shut. But let's rewind and talk about how we actually got here, because this isn't just about Flacco. This is about Myles Garrett flexing muscles that go way beyond his pass rush moves. When Garrett was negotiating that massive 4-year, $160 million extension, he made something crystal clear to the Browns brass. No more rebuilding, no more developmental projects, no more wasted seasons. He wanted a veteran quarterback who could contribute immediately, and he wanted it now. The Browns heard him loud and clear. First, they traded for Kenny Pickett, thinking they'd found their answer. Then they signed Flacco as insurance. They drafted Dillon Gabriel in the 3rd round and Shatter Sanders in the 5th, building what looked like the deepest quarterback room in franchise history. For different options, for different timelines, one unified goal: win while Garrett is still in his prime. Then the dominoes started falling. Pickett goes down with a hamstring injury early in camp, and suddenly the carefully constructed plan gets flipped upside down. Flacco steps in, takes first-team reps, and holds steady while everyone else scrambles to adjust. The Browns eventually dealt Pickett to Las Vegas for the same 5th-round pick they originally gave up to get him, essentially admitting their mistake and moving on. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Kevin Stefanski and his staff didn't just hand Flacco the job, they restructured the entire camp around getting him ready once Pickett was sidelined. Every first-team snap since being named starter during preseason week against the Rams has gone through Flacco's hands. The coaching staff believes in him. His teammates believe in him. The question is, should you? Because make no mistake, this is a short-term solution with a very short leash. The Browns front office has made it abundantly clear that if Flacco struggles early, if the offense sputters through their brutal 6-game opening stretch, if turnovers start mounting up, they won't hesitate to make a change. Dillon Gabriel impressed everyone throughout camp and preseason, and according to team insiders, they're ready to hand him the keys the moment Flacco falters. That's unprecedented confidence in a mid-round rookie, but Gabriel earned every bit of it with his poise and production when given opportunities. Then there's Shatter Sanders lurking as the long-term project, with reports suggesting Cleveland plans to work him into meaningful snaps this season even if he's not ready to start right away. This whole situation is a fascinating case study in organizational pressure and player influence. Garrett's extension doesn't just lock him in Cleveland through 2030. It gives him unprecedented leverage over roster construction. When your best player, the face of your franchise, tells you he's tired of empty seasons and demands competitiveness, you listen. And the Browns did exactly that. The health factor can't be ignored either. Cleveland is entering Week 1 relatively clean on the injury report, which is almost miraculous given their recent history. Ethan Posick, whose preseason knee scare had everyone holding their breath, is good to go. That's crucial for a 40-year-old quarterback who needs all the protection he can get. Blake Whiteheart and Mohamed Diabate are back from brief absences, and the only real question mark is rookie defensive tackle Mike Hall Jr., who's still working back from off-season knee surgery. Even without Hall, the interior defensive line rotation of Mason Graham, Malik Collins, Shelby Harris, and undrafted standout Aiden Huntington gives Cleveland serious depth up front. Huntington's emergence has been one of the underrated stories of camp, an undrafted rookie earning trust through high motor and smart positioning. That's exactly the kind of depth you need when you're trying to win now. Speaking of winning now, let's talk about the immediate challenge. Trey Hendrickson and his 17.5 sacks from last season will be hunting Flacco from the opening snap. This is the exact type of test that could define how long Flacco keeps this job. If the offensive line holds up and Posick anchors things properly, Flacco has the experience to handle that kind of pressure. He's seen it all in 18 NFL seasons. But if Hendrickson starts getting home repeatedly, the calls for Gabriel could start as early as halftime. That's the balancing act Stefanski is managing. Protect the veteran now, while staying ready to pivot fast. The coaching staff knows they're walking a tightrope with a brutal early schedule ahead of them. A 2-4 start, maybe even 3-3, could be enough to trigger a quarterback change. Gabriel isn't just sitting on the bench waiting. He's preparing like he could be called up at any moment. What makes this entire situation so compelling is how different this Browns team feels. There's an urgency, an edge, a seriousness that wasn't there in previous years. They're not just hoping things work out anymore, they're demanding results. And that shift in mentality traces directly back to Garrett's influence. The Browns are finally acting like a team that understands championship windows don't stay open forever. Flacco walking out of that tunnel Sunday represents more than just another season opener. It's the culmination of months of strategic decisions, star player demands, and recalibrated priorities. Cleveland chose experience over experimentation, at least for now. But everyone understands this is a temporary solution to a permanent problem. The real question isn't whether Flacco can still play at this level. It's how long the Browns will stick with him if things get rocky. Gabriel's development has been fast-tracked for a reason. Sanders represents the future for a reason. This quarterback room was built for multiple scenarios, and we might see several of them play out before the season ends. What do you think Browns fans should expect? Is Flacco the steady hand they need to navigate early season storms, or are you already counting down the days until Gabriel takes over? Drop your predictions in the comments, and make sure you hit that like button to help Browns Breakout reach more Cleveland fans who need to see this analysis. Subscribe if you want the boldest Browns takes and the smartest breakdowns of every decision that matters for this franchise. The Myles Garrett era of Browns football is officially here, and Joe Flacco is just the opening act.